Hey beautiful people, welcome back to our YouTube channel and thank you again for joining our platform today. Guys, if you are looking for a school to apply to study in Europe come January 2025, then this is a video for you to watch. What I mean here is this video is going to be about admissions to study in a European country, and this admissions is starting next month, June. Am I correct? Is this May, June? Yes, next month, June, admissions would open for you to apply to this particular country, and I'm going to be talking about Sweden. I would encourage you to watch this video till the end if you want to apply to Sweden and move to Sweden and get success alongside. Like, if you want to get success, watch this video till the end. It is going to benefit you. Before I talk about the programs available, the application, the visa, the fees, I would like to draw your attention to certain points here. Remember, Sweden accepts family, and if you want to move with your family to Sweden, you should know these factors. One, remember, if you move to Sweden, all right, there is something you need to do in order to start going around looking for job or whatever. For you to work in Sweden, first of all, okay, and get a salary, it depends on the type of job you have. Now, it also depends on the type of qualification. Let's begin with the job. Please, like I said, watch this video to the end so you actually understand everything Milton is going to be saying here. Is going to be saying. Now, if you work in Sweden, well, some people, according to research I've done, most people usually get around 23,000 to 25,000 krona. But remember, in Sweden, as an international student or with your dependents, you have to pay tax. Tax in Sweden is 33%. They will take 33%. This is somehow higher than in other countries. I want to explain these things to you before I talk about the admissions and the application process. So, when an employer says he is going to pay you this amount of money, 23 or maybe between 23 to 25,000 Swedish krona, ask the employer to be sure if it is going to be after tax or they will give you this money before you pay your tax. It is important. Also understand that when you go into Sweden, for you to work, you need to get a person number, you need to get a Swedish ID, you need to get a bank account. Without these things I mentioned, you cannot work in Sweden. Your children cannot study in Sweden. Your dependent cannot work or study in Sweden. You have to put these things into consideration. Remember, if you also in Sweden, you can work full-time, you can work part-time. Your dependents can work full-time. Okay, so if you go in, you as a student, you decide to work full-time and neglect your studies, understand that it may affect your studies and you may not get a renewal for your residence permit. And if you do not get a renewal for your residence permit, your dependent will not get the work permit to work again. So you have to be careful. So you as a student work part-time and let your dependent work full-time. Now, the most important part of this video, guys, those of us who are still young guys who intend to migrate abroad with their families, please remember that if you move abroad with children, you have to put them in school. You cannot leave them at home. And for you to put your kids in school in Sweden, you need to get your person number, your Swedish ID, your bank account. Then you book an appointment before they can go to school. Now, this is going to take you a lot of time. This is going to take money. So I will advise you as a young man, first of all, leave your family home for 1 year. You move into Sweden. Then you put all these things together. You look for an apartment, put everything together. So when your kids are coming into Sweden, they can then just go to school immediately. This is my own advice, my personal decision, like my personal advice. You can still make a decision. If you think you have all the resources, you have enough money where you will not be in a hurry to get a job, then why not? You can move with your family. But remember I said your dependent will work full-time. You can work full-time and you can work part-time. The choice is yours, but make sure it doesn't affect your studies. So we are done with that. Now, what are some of the jobs you can get as an international student in Sweden? It depends on the job type you are looking for. What are your skills? What are your experiences? Are you looking for IT jobs, or you are looking for engineering jobs, or are you a nurse, or are you a doctor? These are the high standard jobs in Europe, or in Sweden to be specific. So if you are a student and you do not have such qualifications, and of course you should be looking at cleaning jobs, you should be looking at school jobs, or you should be looking at delivery jobs and others. But again, these jobs are going to pay you well. Also remember, there are new laws in Sweden now, and for you to get a postgraduate work permit, you need to have a certain percentage or a certain amount of money in your account. I am going to be talking about these things later, not now, but for now, let's just take these ones and utilize them. Now, remember, I said your dependent can work full-time, and you can also work full-time or part-time, but make sure it doesn't affect your school. If it affects your school, you need at least, I think 30, is it 30? Yes, 30 credits. You need 30 credits as a student to get a renewal for your residence permit. If you fail to achieve this, remember, your permit will not be renewed. Now, what happens to your dependent? They cannot get a work permit again, right? So these are the things you need to put into consideration. Everything abroad is appointment, guys. Please put these things into consideration. These are some of the things I wanted you to pay attention to, and I believe that with this, you can now start planning your journey. Now, admissions is going to start this June. For you to apply to Sweden, remember there is an application fee of 900 SEK, which is a Swedish krona. This is equivalent to like 100 euros. You have to pay the application fee. First, when you are checking programs to study in Sweden, I will advise you. Remember, you don't need an insurance to maybe apply for your visa. You are going to get that in Sweden. But note that when you are looking for programs to study in Sweden, go for programs that are at least 90 ECTS credit units, 120 ECTS credit units, 180 ECTS credit units. Most master's programs are 120 ECTS credit units. Do not go for courses or programs that are 7.5 ECTS, 15 ECTS, 30 ECTS. Those are less than 6 months or below programs. Don't take them. Go for those that are at least 120 ECTS. This is going to help you in such a way that the insurance you are going to get, there are so many things. You may even get your Swedish ID card, like I said. But if you go for lesser courses, it's going to affect you somehow. Remember, you can get your postgraduate work permit after you finish a program in Sweden. But there are laws to that. Sweden is changing a lot of laws. Now, can I work and pay my tuition if I go into Sweden? The answer is yes and no. Now let me break it down here so that you actually understand what you need to do. If you are moving into Sweden as a newcomer, do not move without your first semester tuition with you. Remember, when you gain admissions, you are going to pay a first semester tuition. Now you are still left with the second semester, and you have to pay that balance by December. So the money you are paying is the first semester money. Before you even do the application, you are going to find this information on the school website, which is universityadmissions.se. Right now, you are going to find this information on universityadmissions.se. You are going to see how much you are going to pay after you gain admissions. Now, my advice to you is, when you pay this money and you apply for the visa, before you move into Sweden, make sure you have the second semester money with you. The reason is simple. When you go into Sweden, let's assume that you are moving October. You need time, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks to get your person number. You need time, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks to get your Swedish ID number, right? And you also need time, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks to get your bank's account ready. Now, if you look at this, this is already a month plus. Maybe it can take you 2 months to get this done. That is October, November already. Maybe you are looking at December now. You are still to get these documents. And without these documents, these things, you cannot get a job. Nobody will give you a job. And now you need a job to earn money to pay your fees. And you need to pay the balance in December. So if you don't put these things well, you see that it may affect you, right? Excellent. It may affect you. So before you move to Sweden, make sure you have the money for your second semester ready. When you pay that, now you have your documents to work. There are jobs you will work, okay? It's not a problem. Now you can start hustling for the next academic year. So in essence, you can pay for your second year but you cannot pay for your first year because of these documents. If you don't get them, you cannot work. It is a fact. So guys, put these things into consideration. I hope you understand. Now let's go to how to study in Sweden, how to apply for programs in Sweden. Where do you do the application? You have to go to a platform called universityadmissions.se. Now on universityadmissions.se, you need to create an account. When you create that account, you will need to also add your academic credentials on the website. Then on that website, you choose your programs. Remember, I mentioned before that do not choose programs that are less than at least 120 ECTS. You may take 90. I think 90 is like 1 year. 120 should be like 1.5. It depends, but don't go for anything. To me, go for programs, because those things are like those programs on the website. Some people choose them because of what? Because of the money involved. They have to pay. Sweden is expensive. If you are not willing, or if you are not ready to pay the huge amounts of money, do not apply to Sweden, right? But if you have the money and you think you can pay, I will encourage you to apply. It is not a problem. Apply, guys, right? Now, when you create an account on universityadmissions.se, you upload your details. They will ask you some questions. You input them. Then you scan your documents. You upload to that website. The next thing now you need to do is to do what? Select your programs. The good thing here is that there is a date for everything. There is a date for you to select. There is a date for you to rank the programs. There is a date for you to upload your documents. There is a date for you to interchange the documents, like bring your first choice program up and the last choice down. There is a date to do that. There is a date to pay application fee. There is a date to upload all documents. So you are going to see all of this on the website. There is a date when results will be out, will be published. So guys, check all of these and see if you have the money. Why not? You go for that. Then after that, that is for the application. You can choose, I think, 4 to 5 programs as a master's student. Bachelor students, I think you can choose maybe 1 to 5. Just know that you can choose many programs. Now, if you are choosing these programs, you should understand that you may be asked to send confirmation of your transcripts. You may be asked to send confirmations of where you studied. It's very important because they want to be sure. Some people will be asked to send English proficiency. You have to be sure about it. Okay, so these things are very important in your checking. Now, when you do all of this, you submit your application, you have to relax. Remember, there is a date when these results will be published, and if these results are published and you have the admissions, of course they will inform you. Then they will then tell you how to proceed to do payments for the tuition fee and other things. You would be doing all those things online. So if you are not used to online, please make sure you start getting used to now. It is so important. Now, if you check tuition fee for Swedish universities, you will know that it's very expensive. Like I said, 3 million and above for a year. But the good thing is that the first deposit you have to pay is already on the website, so you will be able to see it there. Requirements for you to apply to these universities is already there, right? So guys, you can consider Sweden. Sweden is a good country, but remember, it's also very cold. That is the advice I can give to you. Tuition fee is very expensive. And again, we have already talked about the programs. I will put a link that will take you to the programs down there. There is a date to pay application fee. Make sure you can pay online with a Visa or MasterCard. It's not a problem. Then when you finally get these admissions and pay a tuition fee, you now need to apply for a visa. Remember, there are requirements that you can apply for this visa. If you want to move with family, with your spouse, it's good for you. With your spouse and children, good for you. You can do that. But there is money involved. Proof of funds will now come in. Remember, you cannot be sponsored by a company. Remember, the money should be in your bank account according to Sweden. And if you are moving with a spouse, there is a lot on the website you can read. The Migrate Verset website. You can read all these details from the website. I will put a link below. So please check all of these and let's see. If you meet up the requirements, why not? You are going to get a visa. But if they think that you may not be able to fund yourself or you cannot sponsor yourself, that is where you will get an issue with your visa acceptance. Remember, I said the first tuition, like the second semester tuition, has to be paid by December. So if you are moving to Sweden, know that you need to get those requirements I gave you before to get a job. So don't rely on the fact that you can pay your fees, but you can pay the other years, not the very first years. I hope you understand. So Sweden is a good place. Consider moving there. If you find programs, apply to them. Also understand that this intake is January 2025 intake. Lectures will start January. So if you apply now, note that by October, November, you should be applying for your visa. So prepare now. If you don't have a bank account, start setting one now, because you will need it. A company cannot sponsor you. Your sponsor needs to transfer the money to your account. All right. If you are the one sponsoring yourself, you need to show evidence of everything. Everything is found on the Migration Verset website. This is all I can tell you for now. My name is Milton. Please remember, there are many universities in Sweden. University of Stockholm, University of Gothenburg, University of Uppsala, so many of them. So it depends on which one you have a program. Check them out, and before you know, you are good to go. Don't also forget that there is a scholarship you can apply for, Swedish Institute Scholarship, and this scholarship is given to qualified candidates around the world. You may not be qualified, but if you are a self-funded student and you have your money, you don't get the scholarship, no problem at all. But if you have the qualifications, take a look at the scholarship. Also understand that the scholarship may not be available for this intake. It may be available. Just check it out and make sure you do the right thing. This is the last part of the video, and I wish you all the best. Like I said, admissions is open in Sweden in few days to come. Till we meet again. Bye bye.